The main purpose for calling this press conference is to, I know a lot of you have been calling me relating to the processes involved in the registration of political parties. I'll be basically discussing two major issues. One is the processes, and you're free to ask me questions on that. The other issue is an amendment to the decree, the relevant registration of political parties decree, which which has come into force. Came into force on Saturday, 16 February. You can get a copy of that after this press conference. So to start with the registration process, I will not divulge the specifics of applications that have been lodged. What I can tell you that 3 existing political parties had applied for registration prior to the deadline, which was last week. Yeah? The office is now putting together the publication of each application, which we hope to publish in the Fiji Sun this week. I have a deadline of 14 days, which is basically up to the 28th of Feb. I'm supposed to publish each application before then. 14 days from the date of the application. So I'm working to the 28th of February. After that initial 14-day process, there's a time given, which will be in the public notice, inviting members of the public to put in their submissions, objections to the applications which have been published. Basically to say this application does not meet with the requirements of the decree or whatever objections they may have. Then after that, I'm obligated again by law to relay that objection, if any, to the political party concerned and give them 7 days to answer the objection. Then after I receive their reply within the 7 days, or if they don't reply within the 7 days, after the 7 days, then I can make a decision on whether to register or not. So if we were to take those mandatory timelines into account, we're looking administratively to make a decision within a month of when the application was made. That's if everything that's required to be submitted and there are no issues surrounding the application. So that's the process in a nutshell. In relation to the existing parties, the ones that existed prior to the deadline, they were required, if they did not register by the deadline, the law actually deems them to be deregistered on the expiry of the 28-day. So again, factually, there were 17 existing political parties. When the 28 days period expired, only 3 of those 17 had registered. So again, by law, I'm mandated to make an application to the High Court to wind up the rest of the existing parties that did not apply by the deadline. We are now working in conjunction with the Solicitor General's Office to put together the relevant applications for the winding up in the High Court. And now on to the amendments. The first amendment you would be very interested in. It impacts on your role in this whole process. Because political parties, existing political parties or organizations, groups of people that want to register themselves as a political party, you would know that under the law they're not, it's an offense for them to hold themselves out as a political party if they're not registered. So the amendment actually extends that to include media organizations as well that promote the reporting of groups of people if you hold those groups of people out as a political party. So for example, if, say, you report proposed party X met today and they are not registered, that's an offense. You're holding that group of people out to be a political party when they are not registered. What you can report on, though, is Mr. ABCD met today at ta-ta-ta to talk about the possibility of forming a political party. It's basically an extension of what political parties are not allowed to do. Is that clear? So that's the First Amendment. The second one is in relation to parties that have been deregistered. If a party has been deregistered under the decree, this amendment prohibits any other party from applying to be registered using the same name as the party that has been deregistered. The same name, the same acronym, the same symbol as a party that has been deregistered. Assuming the reason for that would be, a party has been deregistered, it no longer exists, then it doesn't make sense for somebody, it's mischievous actually, for a group of people to come up and try and adopt everything that that party was. Same name, same acronym, same party symbols. The next amendment is in relation to the provision of information for registration, which may have been acquired through fraudulent means. It actually mandates the Registrar of political parties to refuse an application for registration where the registrar is satisfied that information in that application has been obtained through fraudulent means. Those are the main amendments that we will give you copies of that after if you wish, and you can have a look at that later. Yeah, so those, ladies and gentlemen, are the two main issues I wanted to highlight to you. And this is the opportunity for those of you who have been bombarding my phone with phone calls. This is the opportunity. Ask your questions, but I will not answer any party-specific questions. As you all know, there's a process that has been started. Certain parties have applied. Other parties may be applying for registration in the next few days. I don't want to prejudice any decision I may have to make later. You can ask general questions in relation to the decree.
I'm Britain Ryan with FBC News. If we could just clarify in the process itself, when you're talking about the notice that you're going to be publishing in the newspaper, are you printing the names of the members of the 5,000?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. There's actually Section 6 of the decree sets out what is required to be an application. 5,000 names minimum is part of that. And I am required to print out all those details that's been made in the application. Yeah.
Just for another thing, in regards to the amendments and the naming of the political parties, I mean, just this is so that we know what we're supposed to be reporting. It's wrong to say the proposed so-and-so party or the former party. Is that the ex-FLP or ex-NFP or now disbanded Labour Party? I mean, what? I mean, you know, it's new for us. So what would be the correct terms to be using?
It's the same test as what the political parties, well, groups of people putting themselves out as a political party will have to go through. If the statement that you're making, if the report that you're putting can be interpreted as promoting an entity which doesn't exist, then that will be taken as a breach of that particular offense.
In regards to the allegations of fraudulent activity pertaining to the registration of names, has that been forwarded to other authorities for investigation?
Yes. I forwarded the matter to FICAC. I understand that the police are also investigating the matter because persons involved had made complaints to the police. As to the details of that investigation, you'll have to address it to FICAC and the police. Again, I do not want to prejudice the investigation that's going on.
So it's based on the complaints that they've been forwarded?
Yes.
Just for clarification, you said the 3 existing parties applied. There was reports recently on Radio Australia and PINA that a party did not meet the requirements.
Oh, that's interesting. Maybe they've seen the application. I haven't made any decision as to the adequacy of an application or not. When I do make that decision, I'm required by law to publish it. Yes. So at the moment, what we're working on is just to put the applications together into a form that can come out in the media for people to know about it.
Ms. Vuniwaqa, Roland Corey from FBC News. Just need some clarification also. Who has the power to dissolve a party? Is it your office, or can the political parties themselves dissolve? SDL announced days ago that they had dissolved. Can they do that, or does it come from your office?
Okay, I'll not relate to SDL. It's a party-specific question. What I can tell you is what the decree says. It doesn't talk about dissolving. What it talks about is deregistration. So for an existing party, any existing party, after the deadline of 28 days, they become automatic, they're deemed to have deregistered. And once that deeming process comes into place, or if later on I do decide to deregister another party, once I deregister a party, I'm again mandated to make winding up applications to the High Court.
This might be a party-specific question, but does it mean that they'll be involved also in these applications that you're making to the court? Because they had announced that they had disbanded.
The winding up applications in the court, there are a different set of rules. So they exist, and right now for the winding up of companies, it's the application is always done ex parte against the body you're trying to wind up. Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much. Yes.
During the registration of the 5,000 members that they had to get, were there any specific forms given out by your office for them to use, or did they have to come up with that themselves?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for the question. That's something I also wish to highlight. The applications that came, they had their own format, but it was basically what we had provided also. But what I wanted to highlight was basically for those parties out there, groups of persons that wish to register, that wish to apply for registration. If they go on to the elections website, www.electionsfiji.org, we have an application form there that would assist them in putting in the applications. In putting the form together, we've basically studied the decree and put in all the legal requirements within the form itself, so that if this group of people, they're looking at the application and filling out the form properly, they would have fulfilled the legal mandates under the decree.